With Worlds over, it's time for players to prepare for the new season. And this new 2025 season is going to be the most competitive it's ever been because of the new champion point system. There are new ways for players to get points, but qualifying for Worlds is going to be different this time. Only the top 125 from this region is able to qualify to make their way back to the World stage. With that, every event and in turn, every product release matters. A new product release means brand new cards entering the rotation, and if you make a good read on how good a card could be, you could be the one that could have a tactical advantage during that competitive event. Information is key in order to get that edge to win your future Pokemon battles. Stellar Crown, a new product set, is releasing soon, which means that new cards are entering the rotation. Come with me as I take a peek into the card game's future set. This is To The Top. Stellar Crown introduces more supporters, items, and more Pokemon into the game. More specifically, more Terra Pokemon. They are crystallized versions of normal Pokemon that have unique attacks and unique energy requirements. Some of these new Terra Pokemon have the ability to item lock the opponent for the turn, or even attacking super fast. There are also some strong support cards that aid the user if they have a Terra Pokemon in play, like Area Zero Underdepth and Noctowl. These are very reminiscent to old cards and their effects are insane, allowing for larger bench sizes and being able to search for any two trainer cards, making them very strong cards for any trainer to use. With a bunch of new cards in the mix, trainers need to research a lot if they want to make their mark in the next event, which is the Baltimore Regionals. And what's better than going to a pre-release? And that's where we're going. For this pre-release event, we were going to go into Banana Games, which is a card game store that was hosting a midnight pre-release. Pre-release events allow players to have early access to the upcoming set, playing with the cards and building their own decks to play against each other for the chance to win more prizes. If you've never played a pre-release event, this is how it works. Players are given 2 themes to work with and 6 packs to open from in order to make their deck. These theme decks vary from whatever combination you get out of the 4 themes that are provided for that pre-release event, and they could be the following for this particular one. Drifloon, which was the Psychic deck, Lydian, which is the Grass deck, Bouffalant, which was the Colorless deck, and Crabominable, which was the Water deck. Now let's talk card limit, because that's another aspect of the game. For card limit, instead of 60 cards that you're usually used to in most Pokemon games, it's 40 now. So that's a third of the deck completely gone for deck building. Another thing is the limit of cards in terms of how many copies can you have in a deck. And the answer is as many as you can get. If you get 5 Bouffalants, 5 Rotoms, or even 5 Kofus, you can literally play as much as you want as long as they fit within the 40 card limit. So the sky's the limit. Oh yeah. Instead of 6 prizes that you're usually used to, it's now down to 4, making the games a lot faster due to the slow format that pre-releases tend to be. For my run, I got Bouffalant and Lydian, card themes that showed really strong generic cards and really strong effects that could be used in combination in order to get those easy dubs. In my case, Bouffalant was a really strong attacker with a strong ability. Bouffalant, as long as there was another Bouffalant on field, made it so every colorless Pokemon that was basic have effectively another 60 HP, making them more tankier to the opponent's attacks. This made it so that even though pre-release games were very slow in the way that they play compared to the normal meta game, it made it so your Pokemon are even tankier and able to last more turns, allowing you to attack even more. What's more is that Bouffalant had a really strong attack. With only a 3 colorless cost, you could effectively mix this in any kind of deck you wanted, giving you an attack that effectively killed most Pokemon. Since it's a pre-release event, most Pokemon have very low HPs, which made it so Bouffalant was a really strong attacker for this set. The other card was Lydian, a grass evolution Pokemon that once evolved, you get to snipe any 90 HP Pokemon from the bench to the active. Think of it like a free boss's order, but you don't have to use a supporter, and it's just every time you evolve. Small Pokemon, pre-release set, it's a perfect combination for Buffon to get those attacks off. So that's exactly what I did to build my deck. You can see here I'm building a lot of grass Pokemon and a lot of colorless. That's kind of the idea. The other goal that you want to see when you're building your pre-release deck is get as many supporters as you can and see if you can fit them in. For me, I was able to get Riku, Colorless Tenacity, Nemona, and other cards too. And these cards showed to be very effective. Colorless Tenacity was able to tap into some really strong special energy cards like Jet Energy, so that way I could move my Pokemon from the bench to active very fast and get some early attacks off. The other strong card in my deck is Rotom, which has the insane effect that while you are first, you get to add 3 colorless Pokemon that have 100 or less HP to your hand. This effectively acted like an old battle VIP pass, which we've seen in the past has been very strong and does a lot of work against a lot of decks. This was the other theme that I want to add into my deck, so that way my deck was kind of like a grass deck which had really strong colors attackers to kind of act as the supporter line. You can see here I add all my cards together, but then you see this new card that I added, Gargantula EX and Joltik. Gargantula EX had the ability to item lock your opponent for the entire turn if the effect went off. Now, it's a big if, because the attack, as you can see, has very weird energy requirements. Usually, Pokemon with very simple attacks, like Buffalon, make it very easy to make in these pre-release decks, but these cards like Gargantula EX makes it a little hard to attack, because the energy requirement is very specific and very difficult to be done in kind of a fixed format. The actual card I want to show isn't the evolution, it's the basic Pokemon, Joltik. This had a colorless attack that once used, you can add 4 energy to your hand, 2 electric, 2 grass, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, for free. All it took was an attack. So you could make it so you attack with Joltik, charge up your Buffalon, and that way in your next turn you can just retreat, attack with Buffalon, and you have a really strong early game advantage. With that, the building process ends and I go into round 1 and I show exactly how strong Joltik could be as a very generic card. On my first turn, I was able to set up Rotom, which let me set up 3 colorless Pokemon onto my bench, and they were ready to go. I attached the energy onto the Joltik and waited for my opponent. My opponent wasn't able to do much, but I was able to establish an early Joltik and use its ability to add 4 energy onto my Pokemon, charging up my Buffalon. My opponent was unable to find another Pokemon onto his bench, so we only had 1 Pokemon left, which meant if I knock out that Pokemon, I effectively win the game, which I was able to do. My opponent was able to kill my Joltik since it has such low HP, but I was able to do a revenge knockout with my Buffalon, effectively winning the game since he had no more Pokemon left. So this is a very fast round, and it kind of just showed exactly how strong Joltik is, and let's move on to the next few rounds. Round 2 was more of the same in terms of the game plan. I used Joltik to power up my Buffalon, and just went straight to town, getting the prize map going. I did attach a Jet Energy onto my Rotom to get a quick knockout at some point in order to bypass the Buffalon's constraints. Since Buffalon can only attack every other turn, I used the Rotom attack as a buffer time so that I could retreat into the same Buffalon and attack again. The game ended with my last Buffalon attack, and my record continues to be 2-0. Round 3, I was starting off the game more of the same, but this game I really used the power of Lydian. I used it first to snipe the Meditite in fear it would turn into a huge HP Medicham, and it helped me solidify the victory for the final knockout. Lydian proved to be a really strong support piece for my main attackers so that I can guarantee a prize at least every turn. At the end of it, I was able to end 3-0, but more importantly, I was able to have fun with some friends and learn about the new set. I think the event overall was really fun. It's fun to have like a more raw and more simplified game in terms of the complicated and fast game that Pokemon usually is. And at the end of the day, you're playing with a bunch of new people. It's fun to have those conversations with them as you play. As I opened my packs, I did not get anything that crazy, unfortunately. I was able to get the A-Spec Sparkling Crystals, which I was looking for in some of my future decks. Just being able to cheat out a faster attack seems like a cool idea for my Greninja Frostglass deck, or even my Dragapult deck, but that's just for the future. I also want to use this time as a quick thank you for the support. Even though we're starting out small, I appreciate the people watching my video just in general. I'll still be doing event coverage, but I'll choose which ones I feel had a personal impact for my growth in terms of learning. The next video is for the Baltimore Regionals, which is already in the works. Maybe soon I can also announce the secret project that I've been working on. But until next time, trainers, and remember, keep working your way to the top.